Outrage in Minneapolis and across the nation tonight after an ICE agent opens fire on a woman in her car, marking a deadly start to the Trump administration's latest immigration crackdown.
This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism.
Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is.
Federal and local officials painting different portraits of the encounter that claimed a woman's life. Good evening, I'm Greg Lee. Homeland Security says an ICE agent shot 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good while she was in her car, and they claim she tried to run over other law enforcement. The shooting triggering a massive protest and vigil in Minneapolis and similar rallies across the country. Demonstrators calling for accountability for that ICE agent who has not been identified. Video of the shooting was posted to X and has since gone viral. Witnesses posted videos on social media of the moments before the shooting. One shows the woman inside a dark SUV when an ICE officer appears to walk around the vehicle as two others arrive in a pickup truck and rush up to the woman in the SUV. The third officer stands in front of the SUV and appears to draw his gun. Then you hear two shots. The video, coupled with the conflicting accounts about how the incident unfolded, have only exacerbated the anger among protesters. We get more now from Fox's.
Of the shooting, protesters throwing snowballs at law enforcement vehicles as they left the area. The governor putting the National Guard on alert.
We do not need any further help from the federal government. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary.
State officials are coordinating with the FBI on the investigation. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Dozens of people gathered in Oakland tonight to protest the killing of Renee Nicole Good.
Say her name! Renee Nicole Good! Say her name! Renee Nicole Good!
This protest took place this evening at Fruitvale Plaza. The crowd waved signs denouncing immigration enforcement and the Trump administration.
Okay, so now a 37-year-old woman, Renee Nicole Good, was gunned down by ICE agents yesterday in Minnesota while ICE agents were up there doing their job, going after illegal immigrants. Now, this is the thing. I'm not pro-Democrat. I'm not pro-Republican. I don't give a damn about neither one of them. The problem is the American people are caught in this, and they're being socially engineered and duped to pick a side instead of just being in the middle. Now, there's a lot of things that's going on between this political gangbanging that these two groups are doing, so in their agendas going towards the 2030 agenda. You have the Democrats were pushing for immigrants and pushing for LGBT rights and all-inclusive societies and all-inclusive rights, where the Republicans were pushing for less government and cutting programs and letting people do for selves and things based off your merit. And also under the Trump administration, there was a lot of he latched on to the racist crowd and make America great again. And there's been an influx of the resurgence of a lot of racism and racist rhetoric being pushed across the country, right? So now that's a powder keg waiting to explode because both parties have been bipartisan over the years in allowing these immigrant groups and a lot of this stuff to run wild in the country. Now you want to bring law and order. So the people they're out in the streets and they're complaining. Now, I saw this video, and in my opinion, the police officer could have easily moved out of the way. When the one cop walked up to the car, the cop got in front of the car. Why would you get in front of the car when you're not sure what this person would do? So now we're in a state where you either comply or die. So we already knew what they were doing to black people, but now there's this white woman that was that was hurt. But there's people talking about this and they're voicing their opinion, and the Commissioner of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, she came out and she said this.
Asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You've seen me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the Minneapolis area.
Now, Kristi Noem is saying that this was an act of domestic terrorism, and she was trying to viciously and violently unalive this ICE agent, which I saw the video, which wasn't true. But what happens is when we make videos, because we make videos about these immigrants, these illegal immigrants, and then you have people that's pro, maybe trans, being part of women's sports and cisgender and taking away the genders, and you have all these different things that's going on, right? This fight between the radical right and the radical left, you would tend to take a side. So some people that's depending on what side you are, you'll turn around and say, well, yeah, she was wrong, or she was this and she was that. Yeah, she should comply, but if you don't comply, that don't mean that you should die. I saw the video. The officer didn't have to discharge his firearm. What he did was a choice. He discharged his firearm and he unalived somebody, right? So now people are upset, but when you have an agenda at the country, the agenda is going to go at the expense of American lives. And the American people, most of the time, are not smart enough to realize that you're caught in the middle. Right now, your healthcare premiums are going through the roof because of this administration's policies. People can't afford their medicines, right? There's jobs, people being laid off at their jobs at alarming rates. The corporations are hemorrhaging right now because of these tariffs, right? And the taxes, and they can't get the products. The whole thing is a crap. Is a poop show right now, right? The economy is in disarray. People are upset. Man, like it's just a lot of Trump supporters have turned on Trump, but then you also have the Democrats that's responsible for a lot of this stuff as well, right? But let's look at what Donald Trump actually said in regards to this. I have just viewed the clip of the events which took place in Minneapolis. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman was screaming, obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resistance, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are not just trying to do their job. They're not just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement from the radical left movement of violence and hate. So you have the radical left movement, you have the radical right movement, but let's look at what the governor, Tim Walz, had to say about this incident.
This morning we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV, and today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear, Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident, but we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this: I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want.
Now, that was the governor, Tim Walz, who decided to not run for re-election because of the scandals that's going on with the Somali fraud that they're saying that's in upwards of the billions. And he can't get out from under that. So he's not going to be able to run for what he was trying to run for, historic third term, if I'm not mistaken. Now, he's under fire. The whole state of Minnesota is a powder keg right now waiting to explode because under these administrations, both parties, they've been able to run wild because the Trump first administration, the Biden administration, these Somalis been there. They've been building businesses. They have been doing a lot of corruption, right? They've been stealing money. This stuff is not something that's just new. It's a well-orchestrated, planned system. And multiple states being ran and they're siphoning billions of dollars, right, from the federal government and state government and city government, and funneling that money back to certain countries to build buildings to live comfortably in Kenya and other countries. This is what they're doing. So it's not just under, it wasn't just under the Democrats, it's also under the Trump administration. But the Democrats is doing this to distract us from a lot of other stuff that they're doing as well, because we've been complaining about these immigrants, right? So now you have them up there. So now Trump sends ICE agents up there to get rid of these immigrants, and there's a fight going on. There's a battle. Under the Biden administration, the borders was wide open, and they was allowing these people to come in sanctuary cities and was providing homes for them, and you was conditioning the Democrats to go along with it, right? But now you have the mayor, right, Jacob Frey. He wasn't too political or diplomatic about it. He said this.
There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the f*** Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now, and justice is what we've all got to get.
Trump was elected again for to be the 47th president, and the things that he was saying that he wanted to implement, I knew that he wouldn't be able to do those in the 4-year term. I look at Trump as the bad guy, like, you know, this is political theater, and he's the bad guy on stage left to come in and, you know, undo a lot of things that when the Dems get back in, they're not going to undo what he did. They're going to leave everything in place. He's just the bad guy to implement a lot of stuff. Now, a lot of you guys are going along with this law and order stuff with the police until it starts to affect you, right? This is the beginning stages of comply or die, right? A lot of stuff you see on movies, they're doing this stuff now with the technology, right? The AI is coming into play, and they're laying off thousands, hundreds of thousands of Americans across the country. Places like UPS and Amazon and all these countries are laying off 30,000, 50,000, 60,000. He's putting these CEOs of corporations are complaining because of the tariffs, right? And they're, again, the American people are suffering because Trump believes in making the rich richer through his tax cuts and letting it trickle down to the people, right? But the people are suffering. The premiums are skyrocketing. Like I said, people can't afford their health care. They can't afford their medicines. The farmers are complaining. They feel betrayed by the Trump administration, right? There's so much stuff that's going on, right? But when he came in with the DEI programs and got rid of the DEI programs and said that people should be evaluated based off their merit, but at the same time pushing MAGA and reinstating this racist rhetoric or this racist thought process. So how can people be judged based off their merit when you already talking about make America great again? You're trying to take America back to the 50s, right? And the way of thinking. So, but then on the other side, Obama deported from 2009 to 2017. He deported over 3 million immigrants and migrants. Nobody said nothing. Nobody was in the streets complaining, protesting, nothing. You just supported because it was the Democrats. You just supported that. So now when Trump is in here doing the same thing, you guys are upset, right? When he's trying to abolish sanctuary cities and he's trying to get these people out of the country, you guys are upset. This is a political fight between two parties, and the American people are caught up in the middle, right? This is the same thing was going on in 1980, right? Between the Democrats and Republicans when they was having the same immigration fight and policy fight, right? So now American people are being caught in the crossfire of this stuff because you're being forced to pick a side instead of sitting back and saying, I'm not going to participate in this political theater. You guys are here to serve the American people. Why are we serving you? Because the people are not moving in the manner in which they should move, and they're not being taught. They're not thinking right. They're not thinking right. You know, the black communities are in full disarray after unwavering support of the Democratic Party. But you're being gentrified out of your communities. You're being replaced by immigrants. They're allowing trans to take in women's sports. There's a whole bunch of things that now a lot of Democrats are upset from, and they're running over to the Republican Party, where the Republican Party is not here to serve you either. So what is the interest of the black community, right? So there's a lot of things that I believe that the American people are going to have to pay attention to. These tariffs are hurting the economy. He said he want to bring jobs back to America. He want to bring a lot of these things back to America. How? When America always thrived off cheap labor. These immigrants came here and they did a lot of the jobs for cheap that the Americans didn't want to do. And it was a way for these corporations to bust up the unions where they don't have to pay you as much. They don't have to pay into your health care. They don't have to pay, give you these high wages that these unions are forcing them to give you. So there's a lot of things that's coming into play here that people are not paying attention to. But you guys got to let me know what you think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.